We're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Hi, welcome to the Wingmen Show. My name is Drew Brown. We hope to inspire, entertain, and learn something so we can all make this world a better place for our children. I'd like to introduce to you somebody who's my friend, my wingman, my main man, and I have a wingman watching my back, Dr. Paul Thompson. Hey, Paul, what's happening?
Oh, not much. Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Thompson, and you just heard from Mr. Drew Brown, Dark Gable. He's the American dream. He's the man, the myth, the legend, the pilot's pilot, the role model's role model, and most importantly, his royal fullness. How are you doing today, Mr. Dark Gable?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad I'm full of knowledge, Paul. I'm glad I'm full of knowledge. Well, we're going to have a great show right now. Check this out. Dr. Paul, how are you, my brother?
I'm very good on this fine, misty day.
Yes, and you know what else it is? When I first met my wife, Katrina, you know what she asked one of her friends when I left for a second? She said, does he have 52 cards in his deck? Well, guess what?
What?
We had 52 shows in our deck. This is our 52nd show. Congratulations, Doc.
Yeah, congratulations to you, 52. And she's still asking that. Is she still asking that question?
No, I guess the question was answered. I had about 50, not a big deal. That's most of them. Anyway, Doc, do you have a great wingman story for me today? Or for all of us, actually?
Yeah, well, there's one about an athlete, a very well-known athlete who's doing a lot of good things for a lot of people.
Wow, that's amazing.
Without getting a lot of press.
That's good. It's good to end on a good note because,
yes.
Paul, you know what's worse than COVID?
What?
Bombs. Ukraine has just been invaded by Russia. And I saw it this morning. It started to make me sick. Not only are we fighting viruses, not only are we fighting our own people here in the government acting crazy, now we have foreigners who are killing other people for no good reason. This is ridiculous. I was part of that whole military thing, and I truly believe that I fought for something really important here, and that was freedom, and that was democracy, and that was it where the people had a voice. And this is an actual dictator overrunning another country because it's too close to him, and he has an ego problem. He wants them to demilitarize. He is Goliath. This guy's not even David. Ukraine compared to their military might. So anyway, I really like to hear your thoughts on this, Dr. Paul, because no matter what's happening, if you can hear my voice now and you're not in Ukraine, believe me, you're in a good place because these poor people could die at any moment, And even Putin said, if anybody does anything, you'll see something that you've never seen in history. And now he's threatening nuclear. So this is getting nuts. Tell me, Doc.
Yeah, well, this sounds like a different version of what we called shock and awe when they went into Iraq. Same kind of language, but this is actually happening in Europe. So it's the seed of everything. For the Ukraine, I flew over the Ukraine a lot actually, and I just remember it was very, very green, very, very lush, not a lot of cities. Pretty quiet place. Their position is that one time, Ukraine was Russia. Similar to what Saddam Hussein was saying one time, Kuwait was a part of Iraq and they were taking it. There's some parallels. The military stuff is really terrible. And you're right, he's threatening, basically, this is what I'm doing. If anybody gets in the way, everybody gets hurt. Well, what does that mean? Well, that can mean a lot of things. Because everybody's got weapons, and everybody's got weapons that the other person doesn't know about.
This makes me think of that Chris Rock joke. That's not very. Well, it was not Chris Rock. Dave Chappelle. All you got is sanctions. Well, if I were you, I'd shut the F up. The only thing we can do is sanction them. We cannot be an aggressor towards somebody with nuclear weapons We just can't do it. And this is getting ridiculous. I guess they're going to put sanctions on them. What I think they're going to really do is there are a lot of wealthy people in Russia now, a lot of wealthy people who live very good lives. And a lot of them have a lot of money in America. And I think they're able to shut that whole financial system down. Whatever you have in America is not valid anymore. So the top people in Russia could probably pressure Putin into doing something different.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, there is that the banking system, that SWIFT system called SWIFT, that's the SWIFT. Forgot what it stands for, but yeah, you can pretty much shut down everybody's money.
Yeah, and also China, they're trying to stay out of it, but they just signed a deal with them for wheat. So, if everybody stopped importing from Russia, that would hurt them. And then they'd have to make a move. But anyway, let's talk about some good stuff. Well, I don't know how good this is. Did you see Michigan's coach, one of the Fab Five, Juwan Howard, who my boy Jalen Rose's teammate, he slapped another coach. And he got suspended for 5 games and fined $40,000. And I saw it. And I will tell you this. The coach touched him first, grabbed him sort of, and impeded his progress. Juwan Howard didn't want to shake his hand because of a loss. Okay, that's number one, bad sportsmanship, because you are a coach of a college team. I mean, we still have to have some morals here. And it's just a goddamn basketball game, even if it was a bad game. So anyway, that doesn't matter. That's my choice not to talk to you, though. That's my personal choice. Anyway, the guy grabbed him, and then he started talking to him and yelling him, and Juwan started getting madder and madder and kind of, get off me, let me go. And another coach came over, and that he must have said something. Anyway, that's the one he slapped in the face.
Right.
Here's the point. And I've told my children this, I know this. If you're in an argument, as soon as you curse, it doesn't matter what the argument is anymore. Especially like if you're in school and a teacher's reprimanding you, you say one curse word. The point has nothing to do with what the point was. It's all about disrespect. And he cursed at me. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing here. No matter what happened with the game, no matter what happened with the timeout before, no matter what, he hit me. So self-control under these situations, and I've been there. So I'm not putting anybody down. I love him. I love him. But people have to realize you're in certain situations. Don't put your hands on me. Stop. You really started the physical confrontation. Yeah. As far as where I come from, that's the first start when you touch me.
That's the way I saw it too. I happened to see it live just by accident. I was cutting up some onions and something else was coming on. And when I looked at the game, it was like 15 seconds to go and something else was coming on. And then I saw it happen, and they're scrum, they're fighting, and then there's like 60 people involved. And I'm thinking about the Malice in the Palace years ago when Ryan Artest and your friends, were fighting people in the stands. They're still talking about that. That was
crazy.
That was historic. But this had the potential of doing the same thing with a lot of younger people. It was a bad look. I saw that too. I kept, I said, you're taking this way too far. It's just a game. It's not an incursion. But he did kind of grab and tug on him because he's a smaller guy.
Oh, yes.
I'm a little physics here. His center of gravity he's close to his center of gravity. He's actually moving him more. That probably pissed him off a little bit more than if he was doing it with Shaq. I think so, because the disparity is more. He was tugging on him down. It's just a natural body to lean forward. He's like, what? He comes up. They're separating. Another guy says something, but that tug is like his little trigger. That tug, I think, it's not an excuse. He got nailed. He's a bigger guy. But the optics are bad. They're beyond bad. I'm glad he didn't get fired. I heard Patrick Ewing talked about it. Said, well, maybe it's time to just end the handshake line in sport. I disagree with that.
I disagree also.
We're already okay. He said, "Look, we'll just do it like COVID." And all. I said, "No. No, it's called self-control. We don't have to change."
What happened to sportsmen? We're going to get into this. How about that? But before I get into that, I saw the Ukraine thing and everything after I was on my Peloton. I didn't do, all I did was warm up on my Peloton because Katrina and I did weights today. And we have like a little universal machine and we went around and did our own weights. So Peloton was involved in the warm up, but that's about it. That was about it. Oh, everybody, if you can, please review us on Apple Podcast. That would be so helpful for the Wingman Show. We'd appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Yeah, well, I don't have a Peloton. I just I did my 100 burpees today with 5 push-ups each, 500 push-ups prior to this broadcast. It kind of pumps me up. I can do it now in about 27 minutes. It used to be about an hour. It's 27 minutes. And I have my Costco water, sparkling water that I drink. And I need to go back to Costco and get some more.
Good. Did you say 500 push-ups?
Yeah. You do a burpee when you go down once, and you just do 5. And then
I got you 100 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Dokie. Everybody out there who can hear my voice, if you're not up to 500 yet, please do 1 and then 2 and then start off slow. And the biggest thing that Dr. Paul and I do is we really watch what we eat. Matter of fact, I'm going to get my blood tested. I have diabetes. I keep my A1C right at normal, but I take care of myself. And remember in the military, we got physicals every 6 months.
Right.
And then in the Navy, and then in FedEx every 6 months. So my whole life I've been getting physicals. So I don't mind going to the doctor. Every 6 months I still go. I just do it myself now.
I do too.
Yes. I feel bad about Juwan Howard. Hopefully everybody will learn from that. But you got to keep your hands off of people. That's the number one rule, I think, in being nice. Don't touch anybody.
Right.
Now, how about this? The women in soccer who always kick butt, always win games, they're finally going to get equal pay. They won a lawsuit for $24 million. I think 61 of them are going to split $22 million for back pay. And now, from now on, women's soccer is going to be equal pay. And I think that's just about the best thing I heard. Long overdue. And we were talking about this, though. If women were all together, we'd probably have a women president. But that's a whole nother subject. Yeah. But I'm glad they're getting equal pay. They deserve it. And they win. Yeah,
they win a lot. I don't think you're going to see that in the WNBA. It would be good if they had that, but
actually, let me interrupt you for 1 second. I just was watching Sports Center for some reason this morning, and there was a woman WNBA player, and there's some kind of rule where there's a cap on their pay, and she said some owners want to pay their kids more, but there's a certain cap on it, and they're not allowed to pay them more. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was important.
Well, that's kind of crazy because there's some of the top players, like we're talking about Russia. Well, there's some of those Russian oligarchs really like women's basketball, and they'll pay some of these WNBA players. They'll give them 7 figures to play for a few months.
Oh,
and all expenses paid, everything's played, 7 figures, just entertain us for a while.
Well, women's basketball is pure basketball. Right. They are excellent athletes, and they don't use their super duper now athletic ability to take away from their basics. There's some great basketball players. Right. I remember when you were little, you knew you could always beat a girl.
Right.
Shit, not anymore.
No, not really.
Anymore,
no.
Dog.
No, not at all.
But guess what's good about that equal pay? While that's happening, a general got promoted. He used to be dollar general, and now he's $1.25 general. Inflation rose 25% in all the dollar stores here. Is that not incredible?
Yeah, well, the generals got to pay for gas too. Costs go up. I don't go to last time I went to the Dollar General, I think is when the pandemic broke out and I wanted to get some alkaline water, and you couldn't find any, but you could find some there.
Yeah.
At a reasonable price. That's when the world was coming to an end. I used to go there, get some water.
Well, there's one of my cars I have, Paul, that I'm not allowed to drive to the Dollar General or Dollar Tree. You can't pull up a Rose in a Dollar Tree. You cannot do it. Not allowed.
Okay. Well, you got to be careful where I
don't know where that came from, but it's true.
If I had a Rolls in these days, I think it need to be armor plated.
I got good news also for you guacamole lovers. You know, the Final Four is coming. You know, I'm going down to New Orleans. I'm going to be speaking to a business group down there in Slidell. But also, I'm going to go see my granddaughter, Angel, my daughter, Taryn, Katrina, and I are going to go visit New Orleans. We'll probably stay with my ex-wife, Lori, and have a good time. But that weekend is Final Four weekend. How about that?
Okay.
Is that not crazy?
Yeah. Where they playing at this year? You know, I didn't even look.
New Orleans.
Oh, they're playing in New Orleans. Oh, okay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And my son-in-law,
watch it on TV. You got tickets?
Well, here's the deal. My son-in-law, who I call my son, I don't like that in-law thing, is a sports agent. You know, he has professional athletes, and he's going to be recruiting. And so they live in New Orleans. That answers my
question.
Huh?
I said that answers my question. If you have tickets. Okay, okay. Gotcha.
That's correct. So
okay, good.
And the reason I brought that up is because it is guacamole that people love during those games. You know, that was shut down. Last show we had, the drug cartels were threatening people in the avocado industry because they were running it. And I didn't realize how serious this is, but we get most of our avocados from Mexico. And they're a fruit too. Did you know that?
Yes, you told me about that, and I take your word for it. Yeah, I'm not crazy about avocados, but I mean they're okay. I just get them with Mexican stuff, but they're good for a few things. I mean, it's good for your heart, blood pressure, detox. It's got fiber in it. It's got some good stuff. Yeah,
avocado. And Katrina makes a mean guac salad.
Okay.
Mean. I mean, she can really hit that guacamole. A big question for you, Dr. Paul, and you and I have talked about this week. You know, it's almost like we're surprised now when people do the right thing. When somebody does something nice, we're like, wow. When somebody does something they're supposed to do, like even when I still hold doors for women. It's just the way I was raised. It's just what I do. It doesn't matter. You know, I still walk on the left side of my wife, believe it or not, when we walk down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, my mother taught me that the man walks on the left because the carriages could splash mud all over the women, so the men would protect them. Right. So I still do that. And our wingman today that you're going to talk about later, he's doing something really good. He's doing something incredible. But remember, somebody used to say, you don't get a cookie for not going to jail.
Yeah, I heard that.
You don't get a cookie for taking care of your kids. Like a lot of people say, yeah, well, I'll take care of my kids at least. You're supposed to take care of your kids.
I thought about that last night because, believe it, I watched what I eat, but I did have a cookie last night.
What?
I did have. I ate half of it. It's a big one. It was half of it.
That's all right. 500 push-ups takes care of that. We were both born in Harlem, and you were raised in Queens. I was raised in Harlem, and we had very similar upbringings. You know, we had no money. You know, we lived in they said the ghetto per se, but we had morals. We had a lot of morals where I grew up. There were certain things you did. There were certain things you didn't do.
Yeah.
And what I really see today, and I hate to sound like my parents and my grandparents, but today's generation, the morals kind of have gone out of the way. The respect has kind of gone out of the way. They communicate on text. You understand? You don't have to have any feelings. You can say, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. There's no social morals. So when somebody does something nice, it's like incredible. And it just shouldn't be like that. You know, what Putin's doing, going to war, is psychotic. But here's the point. If he pulls back, people are going to applaud him for pulling back from going to war. Shouldn't have went to war in the first place. What do you think, Doc?
I think you get surprised by people doing the right things and doing good things. I guess because we have such low expectations in everything. Technology allows you to do a lot of wonderful things, and I use it all the time. But on the other hand, it becomes kind of a disembodied piece of something. So you got robots talking to robots with a human person doing like a little bit here and there. But the communication is broken down, and you see that with young children or people any age who go through withdrawal symptoms, like a heroin addict or whatever, if their device is away from them. You know, I have some of that too. If I've misplaced the phone, if anyone misplaces the phone, it's a bit of a problem.
Somebody said it's worse than losing your kid, because this is like losing your kid who has all your bank information, who has all the people's phone numbers, who has your own phone number. That was a little
right, because it's basically it's a supercomputer that it's in your pocket. What it is, it's a supercomputer. Which would normally, if that was 40, 50 years ago, it would be the size of a battleship. But it's an iPhone. It's more powerful than Captain Kirk's communicator.
Yeah. Remember the Dick Tracy watch we used to watch? We used to look at and go, oh, God, could you believe that?
That was in the comics. Yeah, that was in the comics.
It's happening. You and I have had a career of flying jets for a very long time. And one of the things that we had to do when flying jets, not on an aircraft carrier, because the carrier always goes into the wind. Always. There was no crosswind on carrier landings. We had enough to worry about. The ship going up and down or left and right. We didn't have to worry about crosswinds. But
or all at the same time.
Correct. All at the same time. And at night. And so now all you see is a light wiggling. So anyway.
With a little rain.
Yeah, right. Let's get back to our commercial flying. We had to deal with winds and crosswind landings in big jets. And we did a lot of it in simulators where they really could put it to you so you could see what would actually happen. And they're kind of hairy, to be honest with you. Well, there's a new game in town, and it's called plane spotting. It's not a new game, as you told me before, but people are now live streaming airplanes coming in for landings during heavy crosswinds because it's really hairy and it's hairy looking, almost kind of waiting for you to crash. What do you think about plane spotting?
Yeah, that's a popular thing, I guess, with the pandemic. Folks have nothing to do. I know the guy has a YouTube channel. It's got millions of views, and they watch airplanes coming in. They make commentary. They talk about it. Most of them don't know what they're talking about. Some do, but yeah, it's exciting. Done a bunch in simulator. I've done a bunch in real life. It's like wow. Some of the toughest ones actually was near the end of my flying career in Narita one day. It was like, wow, unbelievable on a clear day.
Wow.
I've had microbursts, strange things.
You can't just say microburst without telling a little bit about what a microburst is, because it's a very dangerous situation.
Yeah, you're right. You're basically you've got a cloud formation that's way above you, and you're close to the ground. This gets bad when you're close to the ground, below 2,000 feet or so. And you get the strong downdraft of air, the strong column of air that goes out and just pushes everything down in front of it. And that might be your plane. They don't have, usually it's conjunction with a thunderstorm or something, but I've had them when there was no thunderstorms in the area, a long way away. There was a couple of times, it was actually in India, of all places. There was a storm about 50, 60 miles away, and we went through it twice. It was controllable, but it was
hairy.
Something. Yeah,
it's hairy, especially when you can't see it. When you're in bad weather, you're almost expecting to rock and roll. But when you're clear and all of a sudden things go out of hand, it's very hairy. You know what? That leads me up to a Wingmen PSA. From the rules or the facts in life, have purpose. Find your gift and use it. Work hard, work smart, don't quit. Everybody is a Lebron James in something. Find out what that is, work hard at it, and make a living and be happy. That's a Wingman PSA. Have purpose.
Very good. Very good.
That's important for us, you and I. I mean, we're both retired. We have basically what we want. And this show has given us purpose. And it makes it fun to wake up. You have to have purpose. I truly believe that.
I agree with that.
Don't you love Porsches?
Yes, I've got one. I've got an old one. It's I've had almost 40 years.
I know. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think, did you buy a new Porsche, like an electronic Porsche with the all electric? Because if you did, there's like 50 of them burning out at sea because the batteries, they don't know if it caused the fire on a cargo ship, but they're extremely hard to put out, and it's been burning for a week.
Right. Yeah. My car, I bought in 1984. It's not high tech. It's no tech, but it just runs. It just works. I just had it. In fact, I had it repainted last summer, and it was the inside is kind of shot, but the outside looks great. They did a great job. I like
the inside done. I did it to my truck, my 20-year-old truck.
Yeah, I've got a guy who do it. He says it's going to take him a while. I may do it, but the thing about that ship is it had 4,000 luxury vehicles. Most of them are Porsches. Some of them were Bentleys too.
What?
Some were Bentleys. Yeah, some were Bentleys. Like your dog. Some were Bentleys. And the ship is called the Felicity Ace. I don't know why I know that. And it's burning. They got the crew off. And I don't know what started it, but those batteries, those batteries burn, they burn. The thing about the lithium batteries is that what makes them potentially very dangerous is something called like a thermal runaway. If one of the cells gets like super, super, super hot, it begins to build up heat, and there's more heat being built up than gets out. So the thing just gets hot. And if it hits another cell, it does the same thing. You get basically an uncontrolled chain reaction in the thermal runaway. So if you multiply it by a bunch of batteries, so that can be really, really bad. Because, on an airplane, sometimes someone's laptop will catch fire. It might take all the extinguishers in the passenger compartment to put that thing out. Even halon doesn't do that well.
Mm-hmm.
It may take that water and somebody blowing on it to get it out. That's just for a laptop, let alone something major. So when you're shipping batteries,
are very dangerous.
So even cargo carriers, when they ship batteries on airplane, there's a limit on how many they can take.
Yeah, you had to check them off as captain when we flew at FedEx. You had to know where all your batteries were.
Yeah, they couldn't only take but so much because they were implicated in a couple 747 crashes. One with Korean Airlines. They were just going from Seoul to Shanghai, very short trip. They made it about halfway, went to the water, and that UPS flight left Dubai. They were airborne about 15 minutes before they crashed. Couldn't make it back. Everything was just burning. It was batteries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's go from something hot to something that wasn't that hot, and that was the NBA All-Star Dunk Contest. I was very disappointed with the dunk contest. The 3-point shot contest was great. Yeah. I think that they should bring in professional dunkers to show the people how people can. I mean, there are some dunkers out there. They can't play good basketball, but they can jump, fly, and do things that are incredible. Or they should have only all-star dunks and give them $1 million to whoever wins. But there's no incentive.
What I think, what you could also do, there's some great people on YouTube. They could have a YouTube dunk contest. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. They should actually get them and really pump that up if you want to see super dunks.
Right. These guys are busy doing other things, and they get like 10 tries, or if you don't show intention, you get to do it 400 times.
Well, what happened, it's become so technical that, you have to outdo it. I like good, badass, slam, hard ass, bam! Yeah. I like those kind of dunks. Like Antetokounmpo in the All-Star game. I mean, did you see my boy John Moran?
Yes.
From Memphis. Yes. Moran, man, that boy is high flyer. And matter of fact, since we're in that scope, you have a Wingman story that might be in the same line of what we're just talking about there, Paul.
Yeah, that Wingman we're talking about is somebody you mentioned earlier. It's LeBron James. Now he gets a lot of attention for good reasons. He gets a lot of negative attention for other reasons, because mostly jealousy. But he is someone that is giving back. Some people don't like the term giving back, saying, well, you're giving back. Well, I didn't take anything. It's not about taking. It's not about stealing, but it's really about charity in a good way. And he's got something called the I Promise School. He partnered with the city of Akron. He's from Akron, Ohio, to develop his own charter school. And it's called the I Promise School. So it's funded partially by him and partially by the taxpayers who are trying to do things, well with people that don't have many resources. And his school has a code that everyone has to abide by. There are 10 promises they have.
Can you tell us what they are?
Yeah, I got them here. I promise. I promise to go to school. I promise to do all my homework. I promise to listen to my teachers because they will help me learn. I promise to never give up no matter what. I promise to always try my best. I promise to be helpful and respectful to others. I promise to live a healthy life by eating right and being active. I promise to make good choices for myself. I promise to have fun. And above all else, I promise to finish school. That sounds like half the things you talked about this morning separately. Okay. He's got the I Promise School because it comes from his foundation. There's the Lebron James Family Foundation. But that's just a part of it. He also has in this school, there are facilities that help parents with finances and legal problems at no charge. And he's expanding on that, building a community center. I think there's some 60,000 square foot area nearby where that's going to be turned into a community center where people can get job training. They can even learn about crypto. He's going to have a crypto school.
Good.
There
You and I need to go there.
Yeah, I need to go because I haven't really figured it out well at all. He's got that going. And also, he has something that exists. It's got the name of it. I think it's called, I don't know if it's LeBron House or I Promise House or something like that. But it's basically a living facility where people who have been abused or down on their luck can go and apply and live.
Wow, that's wonderful. He's a wonderful dude.
Yeah,
And
it doesn't
you know
make
what
the press
makes
much.
you know what makes him special? He's not a role model for basketball, but he damn sure is a role model for a father and a man and a husband. And he came in the league at 17. He is right up there with Michael Jordan and will be known as probably one day the greatest basketball player of all time. And not once has he ever been caught doing anything bad.
Right.
It's almost like Obama. You know, I heard a comedian saying, damn, that brother don't even have a tattoo. So, I mean, LeBron's been exemplary as a professional athlete, but more than that, he's been exemplary as a man. But this is the one thing about two things. The I Promise School is not a charter school just that's different. It's in the public school system. He wants to work within the system to make change, which I love. I just love that. And number two, LeBron James works harder than anybody in that sport. He was up there with Michael Jordan in work ethics, and that's why he's so good. He spends $150,000 on his body. You think he eats crap? Mm-hmm. Do you really believe that? You think he doesn't work out every day? He actually formed a jump shot. He's a great shooter now. Well, that's 500, 600, 700 shots a day. You'll be a good shooter too. So that's all I want to say. I respect him. Drew, my son, loves him. He loves him so much. He said, Dad, please don't ever meet him. I don't want to meet him because I still want him to be an idol.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and refer to use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth, and goodwill towards all men and women.